he's facing. Andy McCarthy, a great lawyer in his own right, knows those challenges very well. The former assistant U.S. attorney, Fox News contributor. Andy, she is kind of, without saying it in so many words, hanging her political hat on that possibility. This guy could implode, and I'm your backup. How realistic is that, the implosion part, that these cases drag on, he's so distracted, he could even be facing a conviction in a criminal case that might make trial light of day. What do you make of all that?
Well, I think he is imploding, Neil. So, we haven't even gotten to the criminal cases yet, but he's in very dire straits as far as these civil judgments are concerned. Even if you think, as I do, that there are severe questions about the second E. Jean Carroll case in terms of the exorbitant penalty of $83.3 million that was imposed there, and then the just mind-boggling, totally out of proportion with the wrong alleged fine or disgorgement payment that Judge Engoron ordered last week in the civil fraud case. Even if you think that there are significant questions, at least about the damages on appeal, appeal is not free. It's not like a criminal case where you automatically get to appeal. In appeal, you have to actually be able to post the assets at interest in order to go forward with the appeal. He was found liable in the E. Jean Carroll case on January 26th, which means next week he's got to file a notice of appeal. You get about 30 days. And the question is, that's going to cost him about $90 million. He doesn't have to pay it, all in cash. He can post property, but, that's a big nut. And then, 30 days from last Friday's verdict, he'll have to post something in the neighborhood of $400 million to appeal the Engoron verdict. So, there's a lot happening there. And all of these things, the criminal allegations and the financial straits he's now in, importantly, I think, affect his ability to do business going forward, which is not a small thing. In 2021,
those are great distractions. But finish that thought. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, no. I looked this up this morning because I knew you were going to ask me, Neil. In 2021, Forbes did an assessment of what he had, looking at him in terms of his financial debt load in the coming years. They estimated that it was about $1.3 billion at that time, and that big payments were coming in 2023 and 2024. That was before all of these civil verdicts. So, he's under a lot of strain, I would think.
Now, that's money that he has to put up right now as this appeal process begins. He's tapped a lot of supporters and their money, better than $50 million last year, to pay for a lot of those legal bills. It's going to go up substantially. He's hawking, $400 sneakers that are, worth thousands on, eBay right now. There are GoFundMe pages starting on his behalf. But that is another complication, is it not?
Well, sure, because I think, I don't pretend to be a complete master of the esoterica of campaign finance laws, but I do know whatever rationalization he's been able to use up until now to use campaign contributions to pay legal fees. There's a hard line with respect to judgments. He's going to have to go into his own pocket and his own assets in connection with judgments. And what I would be concerned about, Neil, and this is more your side of the street than mine, but, all these insurance companies and financial institutions that are counterparties of his, they're publicly traded corporations who have, stockholders that management has to respond to. And, to the extent that there are escape hatches in their contracts in the event that that Trump or a normal counterparty would have, criminal convictions or civil judgments or engage in fraudulent activity, you could get activism from the shareholders in those companies objecting to their continuing their business relations with Donald Trump. So it could become impossibly difficult for him, even absent the restrictions that Judge Engoron put on him last week. It could be very hard for him to find people to insure him and make loans to him that he needs to do business.
To say nothing of continuing to run for president of the United States. Andy, thank you very much. Andy McCarthy.